Here we go. Welcome to this week's episode of Guardians and Gladiators. I'm your host, Lauzie, and with me always, my co-host, D. How you doing?
I'm good, Lauzie. How are you this week?
I'm pretty good.
Excellent. I'm excited about the show today. We are going to learn a few things this week about...
Just before we get to that, I have some breaking news.
Breaking news. Wait a minute.
Breaking news right from Special Olympics.
Hold on. If it's breaking news, give me a second. Hold on.
Here it is, breaking news that a few days ago, an email was sent out starting on November 1st. Athletes will be returning back to our sports on November 1st.
What? Oh, I got to hear more about this. What is back on November 1st?
Our Special Olympic sports has been started back up. And on November 1st, our floor hockey team is back on the gym floor.
This is exciting.
It is.
I've
been waiting a long time for this, and like all the other athletes, it's just going to be an exciting day on November 1st.
Wow, that's next week. That is so cool. I'm sure we will get a whole lot more information the next week or so as far as rules and regulations and how to keep ourselves safe so that we can keep the sports coming. That's great. So it sounds like our return to sport is starting to move back into action here. That's excellent.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an exciting day.
Good stuff. Well, you know what? I'm going to promise our listeners right now that I'm sure they'll all receive some information, but for our athletes that are tuning in, next week, we will make sure we have somebody on the show that can give us all the information we need to know so that everybody is right up to date on it. Well, if I was going to be interrupted, that's the kind of news I want to be interrupted by. That was awesome. Yeah, you can interrupt anytime with news like that, Lauzie. That is exciting.
It is.
All right. Okay, so back to this week's show. I was about to say, we are going to learn some things this week about something called Motionball. And Motionball is directly related to Special Olympics. It's a big fundraiser for Special Olympics. And it may be something that a lot of people aren't too familiar with. So we're hoping to learn a little bit from not only an athlete that took part, but we also have a special guest from Motionball to give us lots of information. So it'll be a pretty exciting podcast because we're going to learn a lot about that, as well as our regular Special Olympics related content.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to learn more about Motionball. I kind of heard of it a little bit, but never took part of it yet. So,
okay. Well, I think by the end of this episode, we're going to know a whole lot more, both of us.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we will get right back with our first guest this week.
Welcome back to Guardians and Gladiators, folks. And this is good. Our first guest today. He's been with Special Olympics for quite a while, doing different sports, winning different awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben, how are you today?
I'm doing not bad, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Ben Cowan, it is great to see you and speak to you. How are you doing?
Really good, thank you. Nice to see you too as well.
Good. We're excited to have you on the podcast with us.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So, Ben, Chris was saying you've been with Special Olympics for a long time. Do you know how long it's been?
Since I was 19.
19. Wow. And what are you now? 20, 21?
I'm 46. Yeah.
So it has been a long time, hasn't it?
Well, yeah.
What sport did you start with, Ben?
Curling and track and field.
Nice. And what are you up to now? What have you added to your curriculum now?
Well, basketball. Okay. Bowling and baseball.
Baseball? Who plays baseball?
And I played hockey too.
Okay.
And soccer.
Wow. The list just gets longer
Yeah.
and longer, doesn't it?
I know.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And
Yes.
I understand that one of your teammates from baseball is on this podcast, and it's not me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we take turns pitching.
yeah. And he's a good pitcher too. So
Very good. So, Ben, during the last year and a half or so, during this pandemic, obviously it's been a tough time with all the sports shutting down. Of all of your sports that you're
Yeah.
not able to play right now, which one would you say you miss the most?
pretty much I miss bowling pretty much because that's usually what we usually like. And so too bad we can't go back to bowling, but that's the main one that I usually like to go back to. But right now we can't because of the COVID. But I hopefully we'll get back soon. Hopefully the bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever
10 pin too. So
at-
10 pin.
10-pin bowling. Got it.
Yes. Yeah.
have you ever attended a motion ball event, Ben?
Yes.
And
I
how
have.
and how did you enjoy it?
It was actually pretty fun. I did a lot of different things which I haven't tried before, like bench ball was one of them, and I was able to, get knocked off a few times. But bench bowling is where you have to throw the ball to the opposite opponent from across from you, and you have to knock them down. And hopefully, when you catch it, you're safe on the bench.
Oh, I think we lost you there for a sec, Ben. Oh, we just got you back. We actually lost you there for a second, Ben. We couldn't hear you for a little bit there.
Oh.
You were explaining about bench ball.
Yeah, it's like where you have to catch the ball from where the opponents throw to you, and you have to catch it to prevent you from getting off the bench. So
Can you hear us, Ben?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can now. Every time you explain what bench ball is, right after you get to knocking your opponents off, we lose you. So there's
Sorry.
something about what happens afterwards that
They don't want to know
us
what
to
bench
know.
ball is.
Sorry.
They know. Motion ball knows. He's telling the secrets.
Yeah.
So listen,
No,
Ben.
but it's exciting. And I meet lots of people too, which is good as well.
And that's great because
People
on
and
this
everything.
episode, we wanted to speak a little bit about motion ball. And I think it's something that some people have heard of, but a lot of Special Olympic athletes aren't quite sure what motion ball is all about because
Yeah.
it's only been around in the London area for probably the last 5 or 6 years. Now, it
Yeah.
takes place up at Western, is that right?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Yeah, at the university there. Yeah.
great. And
College students.
okay, so you're playing
Yeah.
sports with the college students?
Yes.
Very nice. Good.
We break up in teams, and it's each team gets broken up into different areas. So we're in different teams, but it was still fun. Otherwise, being in different groups as well, and meeting them too was fun too.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many years have you been going to motion ball?
Oh, about 4 years.
Yeah. Have you noticed
Yeah.
that? Have you noticed more and more Special Olympic athletes going each time once that they find out about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like different ones and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping that the athletes that listen to our podcast here, that maybe they'll find out a little bit more about it through you and through our guests later on. And maybe they're going to be interested in joining up the next time because, as we say, we're hoping everything starts to get back on track again, and motion ball being one of those things.
Yeah, we make chants as a group. We have like little cheers after each little event, and after when we're done, we usually have a chant. So what we make on those little papers, that's our cheer for the night. We make up a cheer as a group.
That's great.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, and we played basketball too as well, which was fun too with the group as well. So it was kind of fun too doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any favorite moments in Special Olympics?
Favorite moments. Running the entire curling. Running the curling championship. And we won the curling championship.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
you know,
Purple Heart.
your answer to Chris's question about your favorite moment, and you talked about your team accomplishing something in curling. And I think
Yes.
that's so impressive because your answer was about a group of you accomplishing a goal as opposed to you when you won a pretty significant award here in London, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And that's not the one you said, though. You talked about your team winning something instead of you by yourself. And that says a lot about you, Ben Cowan.
Yes, it does.
Now let's talk a little bit about that. I remember that night very clearly a few years ago at a certain convention center downtown, I believe.
Yes. That was a fun experience.
Yeah. Do you remember how we had trouble finding your award that night, didn't we? And just for
Yeah, I
our
remember
listeners,
that, yeah.
Ben won the Sports Person of the Year award a couple of years ago, and we couldn't
Yes, I
find
did.
the award, could we?
No, we could not.
So what did we have to do to find the award?
And bringing our dog to find it.
We did. We brought a police canine unit in, didn't we, to
Yes, we
try and
did.
find the award? And the dog found it hidden out underneath the tables up at the front, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. I remember that
Yeah,
night.
that was pretty funny too.
That was great. Now, Ben, when you got that award, and I remember presenting it to you, and when your name was announced, it took a long time for you to get from your table up to the front to collect your award. Why was that?
Because I was just I was a little shaky.
Okay. And were there some people in your way?
Yes.
Just push him out of the way.
A lot of hugging, like congratulating and stuff.
Absolutely. You had so many people coming running up to you and congratulating you and hugging you that it took forever for you to make your way up to the front, didn't it?
Yeah, actually, but I finally got up to the front finally, so that was
did.
good.
Now, speaking of that, obviously, when we saw the reaction of all of these people come up and hug you and congratulate you, you've made a lot of friends during your time in Special Olympics, haven't you?
I have.
Tell me a little bit about that. How does that feel through all the time in Special Olympics and all of the friends that you've made?
Well, all the friends that I've made are very nice. They help me out on different sports, and if I have a time struggling, sometimes pitching or something, they just come down and saying, you're okay. You can get this guy out. You can take your time. And by the time I took my time, I took a deep breath. I was able to finish the game, and I gave a couple good strikeouts, and I got a congratulations from all my teammates, which was amazing.
Nice.
Including Chris. He's amazing as well about that too.
He's quite a guy, isn't he?
He is, yes. He's a good guy.
Yes.
For sure.
Very good. Yeah, I think it's great that the relationships that you make through Special Olympics, and you have a special relationship, I think, as well through Special Olympics, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah. Is there anybody else in your household?
He thinks
My lovely wife, actually, who's right beside me. Yeah, she's been really good. She's been fantastic. So
yeah, that's
she's
great.
helped me a lot of times.
Yeah.
Did you guys meet through Special Olympics?
Yeah, Michelle and I actually met through soccer. Actually, when we played soccer, I forget how long ago that was, but about 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know about you, Derek, but this Special Olympics is a dating place.
I think you're right. On our last episode, Ben, we had a husband and wife team on from Special Olympics, Richard and Terry Horner, and now we have another couple that met through Special Olympics. I think I see a future in a little dating app here for Special Olympics, eh? That's excellent.
So Ben, we as we athletes, we follow an oath. Could you tell us the oath?
Let me win. If I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
So, can you tell us when you were brave at the attempt?
Track and field. Yeah. In Sault Ste. Marie. At track and field.
What happened there, Ben?
I Yes, and one of the people fell, and I was trying, and I was able to help them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
As I was running as well.
Impressive, Ben. That's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
placed
good
second,
sportsmanship
placed
right there.
second.
Came in
Yeah.
second?
Yeah, I stopped and helped someone as I was running. I played second place.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's so nice to hear,
Yeah.
Ben. That's such a great example. I love that example.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's good team sportsmanship right there.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Well, Ben, it was great having you on our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hopefully do this soon again. Hopefully, we'll do this again.
Absolutely. It was great,
Looking
Ben.
forward to it, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're looking
Yeah.
forward to getting the sports back up so that we can all get out and see each other again.
Yeah, I'm hoping that'll be true, Derek. I'm hoping we can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Ben. And
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
thanks.
Very
Okay.
much.
Lauzie and I will be right back after this.
And welcome back to Guardians and Gladiators. Our next guest is a special one today. She is part of the Motionball Ontario. Welcome to the show, Sarah Young.
Thank you so much. I'm very
Welcome,
excited
Sarah.
to talk to you both.
Very
Thank you
good.
for coming on.
Thanks for having me here.
So I understand Motionball raises funds for Special Olympics. Can you tell me a little bit about what Motionball is and what events you hold?
Absolutely. So you nailed it in the intro. So Motionball is a nonprofit that is all across Canada, and we raise funds and awareness for Special Olympics through integrated social and sporting events. So we bring together young professionals with Special Olympics athletes or university students with Special Olympics athletes on university campuses. So our goal is to just create a more inclusive space and introduce young people to Special Olympics and raise money for the Special Olympics Canada Foundation.
Very nice. Sarah, I know when I mentioned motion ball to some people, especially within the last couple of years, they say, "Oh, that's the new thing that raising money for Special Olympics." It's not really that new, is it?
It's been around since 2002. However, I'd say in the last 5 years, especially, it's really grown. It's now in 15 cities and 35 university campuses across the country. So back in 2002, it was only in Toronto and was only in Toronto for several years, and started to expand into the West Coast, and now we're coast to coast.
That's pretty cool.
Very good. And it was there's three brothers, if I'm not mistaken, right? I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but I know they're three brothers that started this up.
Yeah, so Paul, Mark, and Sean are their names. Etherington is their last name. And yeah, the three of them were really involved with Special Olympics growing up. And they came together about 20 years ago and wanted to build something that gave back to the Special Olympics. And they created Motionball.
I know some of my friends have participated in the Motionball Marathon of Sports at Western as the Special Olympics athletes on teams.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important to have our athletes with the students?
That's a great question. So as you mentioned, our Marathon of Sport, that is Motionball's flagship event. So Marathon of Sport is a round robin sports tournament that integrates Special Olympic athletes on teams with, in the case that you're talking about, with our university students. So there's a full day of inclusive and integrated sport, and all of our participants play Special Olympics styled sports throughout the day and have an opportunity to get to know athletes locally in their area while raising money for the cause nationally and provincially. So you asked, why is it important that we have our athletes, our Special Olympic athletes at our events and on the teams? I think we're raising money for Special Olympics. So what better way to learn about the importance of Special Olympics than to meet a Special Olympics athlete and play sports alongside of them? It just creates such an inclusive environment that's so warm and welcoming to all. And people really take that day of Marathon of Sport with them moving forward. And they really see inclusivity all around them and understand the importance of it when they have that interaction on campus or in our city events across the country.
It is pretty special. I mean, I know in the US, in the last few years, it's really been building the whole idea of unified sports. So
Yeah.
having the athletes and other people playing together,
Yeah.
and this really fits right in there, doesn't it, with the
Yeah.
Marathon of Sport?
Absolutely. And it's just a really powerful thing for both the Special Olympic athletes and for the students or young professionals who are participating. I think there's huge benefits from both sets of participants.
And when you say young professionals, I was reading, there's actually a young professionals network that you guys kind of target. Is that right?
Yeah, so because we started here in Toronto, Toronto is one of the largest motion ball events in the country when we're talking about our city-based events. So because we had such a large base of support here in Toronto, we started the Young Professionals Network in late 2019. So that's just a group of people who are they come from all areas of work, and they just have motion ball as that center common piece. So it's just an area for them all to connect with one another, and they all participate in our yearly motion ball events. And now there's actually a Young Professionals Network also in Calgary. Calgary is one of our top cities as well in terms of motion ball participation.
Wow. It's very nice that it's spreading out to the west, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the No Good Way campaign, and what is that and why is it important?
Absolutely. So our No Good Way campaign is our anti-bullying campaign to eliminate the R word from everyday conversation. So we know with a lot of our Special Olympic athletes that the R word is a word that's offensive and hurtful to them. So we do our best at Motion Ball to educate all of our participants about the use of the R word. We want everyone to take the pledge to remove the R word from their vocabulary, and we think there's no good way to use it. So that's one of our key pillars here at Motion Ball.
I love it. Do you happen to have the pledge handy?
It's online at, I'd have to double check the name of the website.
That's okay. I was going to get you to recite it, see if you could do it by memory.
Yeah, I'd have to check, but you can take the pledge online. It's definitely on Motion Ball's website, motionball.com. There should be a tab. It might be motionball.com/no good way, but I would have to check.
That's okay. That's all right. Now, I understand with your fundraising that you have a specific breakdown as far as you were talking about how you've gone nationwide now, and there's actually a breakdown on where the money goes when you raise it. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So 70% of the funds raised go directly to the province, the Special Olympics provincial chapter in which it was, in which the event was held. So for Toronto's event, 70% of those funds are going directly to Special Olympics Ontario. So that supports all of our local programming here in the province. Then 25% of the funds raised go to the Special Olympics Canada Foundation. So those are nationally spread funds. And then the remaining 5% goes to our No Good Way campaign.
Very good. Very good. And here locally in London, Western is kind of the main hub for the motion ball activity, right?
They are. So Motion Ball Western has been one of the longest running universities. They have been running for over 6 years, I believe. And yeah, they're a really great chapter. So that's at the moment the only Motion Ball chapter in London. However, coming up, there's actually a Motionball City chapter that's going to kick off in London, Ontario, which is really exciting. So we'll have an event running during the school year on campus at Western University. And then during the summer or fall, we'll have a city event with the City of London for young professionals to get involved in.
Wow, that's excellent. This is a good city to do that in, because I know the tech community is really big in London, and a lot of those young professionals that you're talking about, we have a lot of them working, especially in the core area downtown as well. So that's great to get people involved like that. That's excellent. Chris, have you ever taken part in motion ball yourself, being an athlete?
No, I think I was invited to join the first one, but work scheduling got in the way.
It's just a job. Get another one.
Well, this year we'll have to get you out. Hopefully we'll be able to run an in-person event. Motion ball is definitely altered throughout the pandemic to run events virtually. We've started to go back to some in-person things. Hopefully by the time our regular Marathon of Sport would be held at Western, we can safely do so and you can come on out.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Are there plans to expand motion ball?
Absolutely. I think every day that's part of my job. That's part of all of the national office staff, the bros, as we call them, our founders. We are always looking to grow. I work specifically with Motionball U most closely. So the Motionball University program is kind of what I focus most directly on. So I'm always looking for new universities to start a Motionball chapter, or new programs that can get involved in an already existing chapter. But just in the cases London, Ontario, starting up a new city chapter is also a great opportunity. The more chapters we have, the more people we have involved, the more awareness we can bring and the more fundraising we can do. So expansion is always the goal.
Nice. Well, this seems like the right time to get into it. Clearing up from COVID, hopefully, and starting to open things up. Be a great time to start to expand into those areas.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is definitely the hope. And a lot of our cities were able to run versions of our Marathon of Sport or full Marathon of Sports, depending on the province they were in. But we've definitely gotten back to some versions of in-person events. We're doing our best to get back to in-person, but obviously we want to keep everybody safe while we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Sarah, thank you for coming on Guardians and Gladiators this week. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
been great. It's been great, Sarah. It's been nice to find out a little bit more, and hopefully our listeners, especially from our Special Olympics London community, kind of know what it is now, and they can be like Chris and go to their employers or their parents or anybody and say, hey, the next motion ball, I'm there, right?
Yeah, and I would definitely, if you want to kind of keep up to date, Motionball Western, they have an Instagram account that they post on a lot. And then our Motionball London, they have a page on their Instagram as well. So once that chapter gets started, they'll start posting on their Instagram in terms of when their events will be coming up. But keep your eyes peeled for more motion ball in the London area coming soon.
Excellent. I love
That'd be great.
Okay. Thanks again, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Lauzie and I will be right back after this. Welcome back to Guardians and Gladiators. Great show. We got to hear from Ben Cowan, not only about his Special Olympics moments, but also his moments in relation to motion ball, which took us nicely into our second guest, Sarah Young from Motion Ball. And she gave us some great information. So I think, Lauzie, we are right up to date on not only what motion ball is all about, but about the dating world of Special Olympics. What do you think?
Oh yeah. a lot of people connecting, and yeah.
This is great. I think we have to look in further into this app and get in on the ground floor.
Oh yeah, sure they would enjoy that.
Boy. All right. Well, as I say, it was a great week. Enjoyed it. The biggest news aside from learning as much as we did about motion ball this week, had to be you interrupting me in our opening segment to pass along that amazing news. So tell us one more time what that news was, Lauzie.
So starting November 1st, the Special Olympic floor hockey is going to be back on the gym floor for the first time in so many months and days. It's going to be an exciting night.
That's excellent. Such great news. I'm glad that we're able to do something like that, and hopefully all the other sports start to follow, and we all just keep, practicing all the rules and everything, and hopefully before too long, we won't be able to get athletes on here because they'll all be busy with practices and games and everything, and we'll struggle to get guests, won't we?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we want to thank you for joining us for this week's episode. We are excited about next week, where we're going to bring you much more information about the return to sports and Special Olympics London. We will hopefully have somebody with us that'll be able to share a lot more information and give us everything we need to know for this exciting new chapter we're about to jump into.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Can't wait.
Great. Thanks again, everybody. And we will talk to you next week.
Have a good day, folks.